The great thing that Tesla has going for it is it's we can talk about gross margins and what they will be for the year, but the number of deliveries this year are going to be significantly higher than last year. And if we've learned anything this week, especially with the Disney results and Disney Plus, growth is better than shrinkage. The shares do look attractive between now and the end of the year.
I'm going to be sitting down with Elon Musk after the company's annual meeting. Tesla's annual meeting will be taking place, of course, in Austin, the Gigafactory. And we're going to have an opportunity to sit down with Elon Musk.
Congratulations. That's very good.
What we're hoping is at least 45 minutes.
Last week, Tesla ticked up the prices for 3 of its models in the U.S., the latest in a slew of price fluctuations so far this year. The EV maker's floating price strategy is unique among car companies. Typically, manufacturers set the price, or the MSRP, once a year. Customers can then do like I do. They haggle at the dealership.
In this video, on the eve of Tesla's annual shareholder meeting, more discussion around Tesla margins and their pricing strategy, plus some awesome news. The most competent person on CNBS by miles, and I'm not being sarcastic, will be interviewing Elon Musk immediately following Tesla's annual shareholder meeting. I wonder if there's any major news to discuss, or this is just a random interview. Plus a super awkward moment in the finance media when a talking head has an embarrassing hallucination about Tesla live on air. By the way, if you'd like more content, don't forget to click the links in the pinned comment. You can subscribe over on Twitter. It's been almost a month now. I've been posting exclusive subscriber-only content on Twitter, mostly videos, plus a few other bits and pieces. And in addition, I'm still posting early access to my daily YouTube uploads to Twitter subscribers. And you can also join Patreon. I'm still creating exclusive video content on Patreon, plus there's an archive of well over 300 exclusive videos, and every member on Patreon gets access to my Tesla fair valuation, formerly known as Tesla price targets. So click the links to the pinned comment, or don't.
I'm going to be sitting down with Elon Musk after the company's annual meeting. Tesla's annual meeting will be taking place, of course, in Austin, the Gigafactory. And we're going to have an opportunity to sit down with Elon Musk.
Congratulations. That's very good.
What we're hoping is at least 45 minutes. That's the scheduled time. He makes his own schedule, of course. Does Elon? He sets his own schedule. He's incredible.
Did he choose to preempt me because he thinks I'm a hologram?
So this is awesome news. For those that don't know, David Faber is one of the few folks on the CNBS panel who seems completely reasonable, seems to have the uncanny ability to leave his biases at the door, asks great questions, listens, and is just overall completely reasonable and rational, as opposed to many of his colleagues. Now, just for the sake of clarity, this interview, while it will run on CNBS, isn't with CNBS, it's with David himself. Let me explain. Elon tweeted this moments ago. I'm not doing an interview with CNBS, the organization. I'm doing an interview with David Faber at Ari Emanuel's recommendation. If David was at another news org, I would still do it. So Elon is being interviewed by David. We've noticed this recently, right? He spoke to an NPC from BBC. One of the most hilarious exchanges I've seen in a long time. That's a very left-leaning media organization. Then he spoke with Tucker Carlson, previously at Fox, a right-leaning media organization. Now, of course, Tucker's been shit-canned and will be soon launching a new show on Twitter itself. Round of applause, Fox. Fire the guy that brings in the majority of your viewers and incentivize him to start up on Twitter. A zero IQ move, that. Some of you might be thinking, who the fuck is Ari? Ari Emanuel, CEO of William Morris Endeavor. If you're a total nerd, you might go, hang on a minute, Endeavor, that rings a bell. It does indeed. Endeavor is the media agency that owns the UFC. If memory serves, less than a year ago, Elon Musk was a member on the board of directors of Endeavor. Bet many of you didn't know that. So the point, expect this to be a very reasonable discussion. David actually has a brain unlike the BBC NPC. And as I mentioned, David is very reasonable and rational. Expect some great questions, some great discussion, and even some nuance.
He didn't discuss that.
But yeah, that's even worse.
He thinks you're a hologram.
I'm the lowest of the low. Congratulations.
But sit down with him to talk about, by the way, nothing's off limits when it comes to Musk, and he's always willing to talk about anything. But my expectation is, of course, we will start, Carl, with discussion of Tesla in part and pricing, and see what else comes out of their annual meeting tomorrow, because we'll be talking after it takes place.
Yep. The new model, in some cases, of actual production, which is getting attention in the industry.
How exciting is that?
Yeah. I could talk to him, we all could, for 3 hours. I mean, when you start Tesla and then Twitter, the new CEO, you want to talk SpaceX and Starlink, NBC? You want to talk AI, and then, given he is the most consequential businessman on the planet, there's just an incredible amount of interest in general in him. So There's no way we'll get enough time, but we're certainly looking forward to whatever we can in terms of sitting down with Elon Musk tomorrow.
Go for as long as you can, my friend.
And thank you, my friend, for giving up some time tomorrow. We will be live.
Come on.
And as it turned out, it will be Eastern time, right at Jim's show. So I'm taking over Mad Money for a night.
I can't wait for this interview. My only hope is that David does enough homework not to ask Elon Musk questions that have been asked of him many times in the past. It'll be excellent to hear right on the back of Tesla's annual shareholder meeting, Elon speaking to David. Lots of things that occurred or were mentioned in the annual shareholders meeting are likely to come up in the interview. I'm super pumped for Tesla's annual shareholder meeting, not so much for the droning activist investors who'll bore the fuck out of everybody at the beginning. Not super pumped about getting up early either, but it's going to be a great meeting, and in addition to that, this interview straight on the back should be awesome. A few people are speculating Elon may have some big news to announce after the annual shareholder meeting, maybe at the meeting. Time will tell.
The great thing that Tesla has going for it is it's we can talk about gross margins and what they will be for the year, but the number of deliveries this year are going to be significantly higher than last year. And if we've learned anything this week, especially with the Disney results and Disney Plus, growth is better than shrinkage.
Well, it's true. When it comes to companies and many other things, growth is definitely better than shrinkage.
I think investors will look at that again now and see that the shares do look attractive between now and the end of the year.
Sure, but I mean, you obviously have to care about margins. You have to care about the number of times they're willing to cut prices to spur demand, no?
I think for Tesla, there's really two battles where it's waging war. One is in China, and one is the rest of the world. In China, they're in a dogfight. There's no question, and so you can make the case that those pricing cuts are coming from like having to keep up with the competition over there. On the other hand, though, look at Li Auto's results this week. China is a growing market. It's a booming market for EVs. So, they should make money in China. The rest of the world, though, Tesla's really in the catbird seat. And so I don't think that the price cuts are coming from weakness, but rather strength.
Ding, ding, ding. We have a winner with a brain that works who said some things that make sense about Tesla reducing their prices from a position of strength. Amazing today that there are still people that think that they're doing so from a position of weakness through a lack of demand. The competition's coming.
And they still have a lot of profit margin to kind of work with when making those cuts. And it puts others like GMs and Fords of the world, in a much more difficult place to compete with them.
Well, it turns out this guy really gets it. Tesla is cutting prices from a position of strength per their master plan, the 17-year-old master plan, driving prices lower, selling more vehicles, mission accomplished. Not only that, but he also recognizes that because of Tesla's insane pricing power and the fact that they are single-handedly dictating terms around pricing in the automotive industry, this puts existential pressure on legacy automotive companies, the likes of Ford and Government Motors, who, spoiler alert, won't survive the decade unless they get bailed out by the government. In the case of GM, not for the first time.
Last week, Tesla ticked up the prices for 3 of its models in the U.S., the latest in a slew of price fluctuations so far this year. The EV maker's floating price strategy is unique among car companies. Typically, manufacturers set the price, or the MSRP, once a year. Customers can then do like I do. They haggle at the dealership. So the final price tag may be lower or higher than what the manufacturer originally set. But Tesla doesn't sell through a dealership. Instead, you buy a new car directly from the company. Pricing and price fluctuation, it's more transparent because there's no negotiating. So what does this shakeup in strategy mean for consumers? Joining us now, we've got Greg McGlure, who is the auto blog editor-in-chief. Greg, good to have you here with us this morning. So kind of comparing and contrasting how Tesla has gone about this in their storefront strategy versus the typical manufacturer-dealer relationship, how does this kind of set the price pathway forward for a company like Tesla that has investors that still want to see it net a margin at the end of the day?
It's really interesting. Thanks for having me, by the way. Car pricing has really been in the spotlight in the last few years for a variety of reasons. The chip shortage, inflation, COVID, and they've all made it more challenging than ever to buy a car. Both new and used car prices are impacted. And, with Tesla, Tesla being Tesla, it's been perhaps most amplified, most in the spotlight. I think Tesla specifically can be more responsive to market demands, and they're more willing to raise or lower prices. Obviously, this always gets a lot of publicity because Tesla is Tesla.
I got to give credit. This guy's come out of the gate not only swinging, but spitting facts. Tesla is Tesla, therefore it's always a big deal, even if it's not. And he's completely right. Tesla has the flexibility to more rapidly respond and adjust pricing, as I've said, dynamically adjust pricing based on data from global order flow every single day. So far, so good. This guy's off to a great start.
But, what's interesting is price hikes are actually not totally uncommon. Ford has raised prices on the F-150 Lightning, the Bronco, and other vehicles multiple times this year in response to supply chain shortages and some of the demand issues, that I just laid out. So it's not totally uncommon across the industry. But in the case of Tesla, just to stop the car buying process is very streamlined. Just sort of before this interview, I was literally almost buying a Tesla online. You see the price, you can click, you basically add it to your cart, and away you go. So when that, bottom line number changes, obviously Tesla buyers are going to get pretty fired up.
Greg, it's Julie here. I mean, obviously you've covered the car industry for a while and much more closely than we have. Was there pre-Tesla, did we know when the big car companies changed prices, or was that something that was just sort of between them and the dealers?
So not so much. I think, again, the last few years with the pandemic and supply chain, that's really amplified the issue simply because people can't get the car they want, or it costs more than, they're used to paying. So that's been a really big challenge for consumers and also the industry. Dealers, OEMs are all very concerned about it. I would actually go even farther back to almost like the early days of the internet, when car sites started publishing, the invoice price and the MSRP, and you can see the difference because the invoice price is what the dealer pays for the car. So consumers, myself included, would print out what you think the car should cost and go in and just start arguing. Not everybody likes doing that. Ordering something online is a little more, it's easier, it's less confrontational.
More great points. Now, there are a few exceptions to the rule, but the vast majority of humans don't enjoy the experience of walking into a car dealership, not knowing what they're going to be paying for a vehicle, negotiating. Depending on how competent a negotiator one is, that could involve getting completely fucked by the stealer, or just gently fucked by the stealer. Or maybe you fuck the stealer a little bit, then they fuck you, and there's a bit of mutual fucking going on, and eventually you negotiate on the sale price. Or you could just go online, order a Tesla in like 2 minutes flat, and know exactly what price you're going to be paying. Now, call me crazy, but I think most consumers would probably prefer the experience of ordering a vehicle online for a set price, as opposed to have to go physically to a car dealership and then engage in a negotiation. I love negotiating, and even I don't enjoy the experience of going into a car dealership. Been there, done that, never again.
But to me, that's when this whole sort of like Pandora's box was opened, because consumers have greater visibility now than they ever have had before, as far as just knowing what they think their car should cost.
Some potential buyers fill up their Saturday morning coffee just getting ready to go haggle, Greg. So now, when we think about what's come forward in terms of even credits for electric vehicles, how does that change the negotiation structure or fabric for some of the dealers right now who are still going to be trying to move through, say, the F-Lightning or any of the electrified GM vehicles, these legacy automakers who have their own inventory to move through?
So for me, it's just another sort of bargaining chip, another card to play. That, hey, you might get up to $7,500 off, which is great. That. So that's a little bit of a buffer as a consumer. That being said, I think, the move is you just walk in and keep haggling, trying to get as low of a price, even start below the invoice price, and then see maybe where you can land. The tricky part, too, is, does the dealer have that car you're looking for? Does it have the trim model, the color, all those different elements? And that also kind of can sort of maybe tip the scales back in favor of the dealer, because at the end of the day, they could always just say, hey, well, we have the red Mustang. Do you want it or not? Here's the price. So it's always a bit of a give and take, that's for sure.
Yeah, unless you're walking into a Tesla dealership, I guess, because then there's not much wiggle room. Greg, unless they're raising or cutting the prices like they're doing every week now.
Should we tell her? Should we? Nah, just let her think that Tesla dealerships exist. She doesn't. I'm trying to be nice here. For somebody that discusses Tesla this frequently, Julie is remarkably ill-informed. Let me know in the comments below. How do you guys enjoy going to the mythical, fantastical, non-existent Tesla dealerships and paying a set price when you buy your Tesla from a dealership? So on the eve of Tesla's annual shareholder meeting, lots to discuss. Surprisingly, some folks actually understanding Tesla's changing prices dynamically from a position of strength, not weakness. Some exciting news. The most competent dude on CNBS by miles, although the bar's not particularly high, will be interviewing Elon Musk following Tesla's shareholder meeting. And unsurprisingly, the Yahoos on Yahoo Finance really living up to their names there. That was quite an hallucination there from Julie. Apparently, Tesla has dealerships. It's news to me. But hey, what would I know? It's not like I make content about Tesla 24/7 and have been doing so for years. So yeah, maybe she knows something I don't know. But if it turns out Julie was in fact hallucinating, I don't know. Maybe she just needs to clear her head a little bit. Might I suggest AG1? Athletic Greens AG1 has given me a massive, meaningful boost in energy, allowing me to do a lot more every day, including using my brain more and using my body more. I highly recommend you guys and girls check it out. Athletic Greens AG1 is an excellent way to fill in nutritional gaps. It's got 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, and whole food source nutrients, plus prebiotics and probiotics and digestive enzymes and adaptogens to help you deal with stress. Plus, if you click the link in the pinned comment or head to athleticgreens.com/SMR, you can get yourself a 1-year free supply of vitamin D3 and K2. But don't take my word for it. Here's what some of you guys and girls have to say. AG1 has changed my life. I was, as you described, treating myself like a circus, ate like trash, rarely exercised, used alcohol as a stress crutch, cannabis also. AG1 is what gave me the kick in the ass, got me back to the gym, motivated me to do more for myself, family, my business, etc. Keep doing what you do. Now, I know there's some skeptics, the same kind of people who think Elon Musk is a fraud, reading this going, what do you thought? There's no way that's possible, bro. It must be a placebo effect. Believe it or not, this is a recurring theme. If you give your body everything it needs to feel and perform its best, including having a lot more energy, you'll need ways to use that energy. For me personally, that includes more exercise, moving my body more social activity, and more cognitively demanding tasks, including producing a ton of exclusive content over on Twitter and on Patreon, plus my daily YouTube uploads. The proof's in the pudding. On to another testimonial from a viewer of this channel. SMR, you asked me to provide feedback on AG1. Here it is. It has helped with mental acuity, stamina, and intestinal waste management. Can't read between the lines. It certainly helps with regularity and digestion. That's what the digestive enzymes are for. It has also dramatically reduced my cravings for sugar. You guys need to stop eating sugar. It's fucking poison. I'm 50, 5'9", and overweight, aka a fat motherfucker. I think that's a technical term for overweight, isn't it? Is it fat motherfucker or obese? I can't remember. I average 100 hours a week in the West Texas oil fields as a safety supervisor. Jesus Christ, dude. No wonder you're struggling to keep your weight under control. 100 hours a week. Brutal. It has helped me lose weight. It is not an appetite suppressant. It can help fat people suppress cravings, and motivation to be healthier is critical for changing your diet. Love you, brother. Again, this is a great point and something people really don't seem to grasp. If you have more energy, everything becomes easier. It's like turning on easy mode for life. A few years ago, before I was taking AG1, my health was trash. I was struggling to get through the day, had afternoon fatigue. The last thing I wanted to do was either use my brain or move my body. Didn't have the energy. Now, my biggest struggle every day is figuring out ways to use that energy. I'm exercising way more, doing a lot more with my friends and family, and of course, my work output has increased substantially. And you can fact check me. Check out the average length of my videos I was posting to YouTube 3 years ago. Need I say more? And one final testimonial. Love this one. Okay, here's the deal for me with this AG1 shit. I'm 41 years old and not the type to eat, drink, smoke, or sleep healthy, so I was skeptical. That being said, here's what I experienced. Day 1, meh. Day 2, afternoon fatigue was about 45 minutes late. Day 3, 0 afternoon fatigue. Day 4, 0 afternoon fatigue plus extra energy. Day 5, again, 0 afternoon fatigue plus energy. Wondering, what the fuck, really? See, this is the thing, right? The results for many people are just almost too good to be true. This is the same experience I had. My afternoon fatigue just vanished out of nowhere. I'm like, wait, what the fuck? Why am I not tired in the afternoons anymore? Surely, it's not that AG1 is it? Turns out it was. Day 6 and 7, same thing. Day 8, same thing. Plus, I had the want to get things done around the house that I normally would slack off and not get done. Again, the point, extra energy, you'll need to use it, you'll find ways to use it. Day 9, 10, and 11, and today is day 12. I fucking love it. So however you managed to get me to buy it, I'm so glad you did. Thank you so much, SMR. It really changed me so far. Guys, this shit really works. Just try it. By the way, this is the reason I continue to relentlessly promote AG1. A lot of people get real fucking mad in the comments. Oh my God, snake oil salmon sold out. Oh my God, he's a scammer. This is fraud. But constantly, I'm pretty sure everyone making these comments is also currently short Tesla stock. I'm not particularly concerned about people having a negative perception, those folks suffering from small brain syndrome, still living in my bum's basement syndrome, etc., writing mean comments, claiming AG1's a scam or it doesn't work. I mean, bro, When I get feedback like this is what keeps me going. And remember, there is a 90-day money-back guarantee. There's nothing to lose here. Just try this stuff for a month, and if you don't get these results, get your money back. See, it's a literal no-brainer. It's an IQ test at this point in time. Testimonial after testimonial after testimonial like this. Get your money back if it doesn't work. Just try it for a month, and if it doesn't work, get your money back. Today's the day. It's finally time. Be like this guy who was a massive skeptic, but finally, after 1,000 promotions in a row, caved in, tried AG1, and has results like this. Head to athleticgreens.com/SMR or click the link at the pinned comment, and please, let me know how you're feeling in a few weeks' time. Now, if you'll excuse me, time to put my extra energy to good use. I'll be recording some more exclusive content for Patreon and my Twitter subscribers. So click the links to the pinned comment, see you over on Twitter and or Patreon, and don't forget to grab your AG1. Love ya.